Right, welcome back to the second part, the update 2 of the T34 876 with the Stalingrad Dio. I haven't done nothing towards a diorama yet. That's going to be a part of this build, but on its own, if you know what I mean. But I might put it together, and if I do, I'll pop it into the build log as we go along. So as you can see, I've got everything ready to be primed. Apart from the wheels, which I shall do at a later point until when I work out, same with the suspension arms and things like that. So I'm going to do a slightly different way this time. I've just been purchasing is the Mr. Colour Russian modulation set, and it contains, unfortunately everything's in bloody Chinese or Japanese, so I can't make head and tail of it all. But yeah, basically, I know the basic things what we've got. So basically we have 4 pots of paint. Let's see if I can work out which ones are which. Here we go. And this one is for the shadow coat. So there's a shadow coat there. And then we have base coat. So the shadow coat, base coat, and then we have highlight 2 and highlight 1. Just made to pick them out the wrong way around, but there you go. There we go. So what I was looking, I can't really make head and tail of the instructions, but I'll probably do roughly what they're telling me to do. But what I'm going to do first, instead of priming it grey, I'm going to prime it with the Russian green, Filet on Russian green. I'm going to prime it with that, and then I'll start using the modulation set. I'll probably shadow with the shadow coat as normal, working around all the crevices and things like that, and then we'll put the base coat over that, and then we can start picking up with the highlights. So that's the way I'm going to try and do it. So you don't really need to see me base coating the T34. So what I'll do is I'll get this all mixed up, get it sprayed, and then when it's dry I'll get back to you, and then we can start showing you how I think it should look. Not necessarily everybody's cup of tea, but the way I would do it. So this is Greg signing off, and we'll catch you soon. Right, back again, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I'd start putting this together, this diorama that I've been asked to build by a new and up and coming company from Germany called Giro, and they're girodesign.com. I'll leave a link in the bottom of the page. You might have seen me sort of done a pre opening of this and see what's there. As you can see, I've just started to put things together, and of course got excited, forgot to put the video on. So as you can see, I've put the first piece on. This is the whole base of it is there, which is nice. You have to get the base as well. I've also put this together. I'm just using, at the moment it seems to work quite well, is the old Yoo-hoo stuff. I think it's old because it's bleaked at the bottom. So I'm putting it together slowly but surely, and it fits together just like a jigsaw. So the next part I'm going to fit is just this, I can't really see from that angle. Let me just turn this around. I can do from that way. It just fits in into the corner there quite nicely. So what I'll do is I'll run a bead of glue up the bottom of it, and I think I did use this last time. I did something similar. It was when I did the Joe T34 group build, when I had the plaster houses from Fog Models. So, and they held still pretty firmly onto the base. So let's just pop this in. Let's line it all up. It seems to grab it quite well. As you can see, it's pretty sturdy. So I'm going to do a lot of work in the back of it as well. I'm going to do some rubble and this, that and the other in the back of this diorama as well. So as you can see, it's fairly straightforward build. It's just there's no instructions. That you can just follow the picture. It's fairly straightforward. And then we have the next piece, which is the gate. It just slots into there like so. Let me see that. Have I gone too far off? There we go. So I shall put another bead of glue along at the side of that, and on the bottom as well. I say I'll leave this a good 24 hours, I think, just to, I think I did last time with the Jaws T34 group build as well. I just left it a good 24 hours to cure. And let me just pop that into there and line everything up, which goes in quite nicely, fits in really nicely. I'm not going to need any filler. I wouldn't have thought in anything really. It's quite nice. As you can see, there's the gate part. And obviously we have the big bay window as well, which I've got to do, which is here. And obviously you get the picture inside the just gives you a little picture of what you can do with it. There's bits and pieces. I'm going to add some drain pipes, and I'm going to add some of the bits and pieces, just, you know, just make it a little bit, because it's a good base to work from. I'm going to put glass in the back of the windows, and obviously this will sit in there quite nicely. But I'm going to use some of the microscope glass, you know, the glass that you get for microscopes for putting blood on and things like that. I've got some of those, so I'm going to put some of those into the back of this and crack them, and that should look quite effective. I think it was Mr. Kemp who put me onto those. So I won't, obviously that's going to be last separate, kept that separate. I'm not going to do that at the moment. I might do the glass later on this evening while I'm waiting for things to dry, so I'll keep that separate over there. So in the meantime, now we can do the final one of the final pieces again, which is that edge. So that will just sit nicely into there. Oh bugger! Didn't do your surgical spirit everywhere. As you can see, it's pretty plain at the back, but we can soon rectify all that. A bit of a gap there, but at least we've seen it and rectified it. It doesn't alter anything at the front. You know, so what I'll do is I'll just I shall just put a bead of glue down here. Sorry, the camera works terrible at the moment, isn't it? And I shall place that to here. I'll just come round here and line things up. It just seemed to get a good grip of the thing, but I've got some large, as you've seen on the other side, I've got some of these large crocodile clip things, so hopefully it'll be wide enough just to put over there and keep the top together. And again, I might be able to just needs to be pulled out slightly. There we go. There we go. Everything's there now. We can't get anything on there, can we? But not to worry, that's fine. So there's the basic build. Just wants a little bit tidied up on that bit there. I'll put some glue in there and we shall go from there. But as you say, it will look quite nice when it's all done. I say there's a railway track, there's some little bits and pieces of wall in here which I'm going to use like for, you know, rubble and in the back there and things like that. I don't think we can use it for anything else. Not really, no. No point in doing that. But I say these will get used, and it's a good base to work from. We've got the railway line there, so I haven't got a T34 wet, so I can't really pick anything up. I've got an old T34, let's have a look. One of my first builds, so don't laugh. So I'm going to have the T34 coming out. It'll be coming sort of from this way. But I'm going to have to do the tracks, if you see what I mean. I'm going to have to make the tracks workable because it's going to go over the railway line. So let me just... Yeah, so I'm just going to have to make a little bit of the... little bit of sag on it, on the suspension. A couple of wheels on the front. On the other side, the same. No, it's not too bad on the back as well. So that's what basically it's what it's going to be like, sort of that. And I've got a couple of figures. I've got the where did I put my figures? I bought some figures ages ago. I can't remember where I put them at now. Oh, here we are. I'm definitely going to probably do a winter version, but there again, I mean, you know what I'm like, I'll change my mind. So I have these Dragon Soviet Infantry Winter 1941. So I'll probably use those along the line, I would think. Look fairly nice. There's 4 figures. They don't look too bad at all. So there's the back of the box. If you can see that. I'll just pull this back a little bit and then we can get the glare off it, can't we? Yeah, so it's Soviet infantry and the kit number is 6744. If anybody interested on anything. 6744. So I haven't even opened the packet yet, so maybe I should have done a little kit review with them, but they look fairly straightforward. I know dragon figures aren't renowned to be the best, but we shall see what we can do with them. So I think I'll close on this bit here. I say I'm going to go back to the T34 tonight and finish the modulation off, and then I'll leave that alone and I'll put the decals on and I'll give it its dual coat and I'll leave that, and then I can start thinking about getting this primed. Probably prime it grey, probably the AK grey which I've got. That seems to work quite well. Although this may take quite a few coats, it might soak into the plaster. So I might put a bit of PVA and water on first. I think that's what somebody told me to do. I'll double check that. I'll find out. So, but I'll keep it on this tray, and I'll know where it's at. And then we can carry on with the build. So yeah, that's basically what it's going to look like. Obviously, we're not with that T34. So, but I'm going to kind of zoom out. Let me zoom out. Right out. Let me just bring it up here. In slightly. There we go. So it's quite a substantial building. There's a door to put on there, but I'll probably do a door all damaged as well, blown off the hinges type thing, with the glass from the windows. And obviously I've got all the bits and pieces of the debris which has sent me all the bricks, and I've got little bits of wood and this, that and the other. And I was even thinking, I've seen somebody with a like a lathe or a machinery, like a, I don't know what it's, just a machine. So I could find something like that. I could put that in the back of here as well, with the rubble surrounding it and just all the crap and everything. So I'm going to look online, see if I can find anything like that. But it should look quite nice when it's all done. It really should. I'll look forward to it. So we'll call this part finished, and I'll get back to the T34 with the modulation, and then next time you see this, hopefully this should be sprayed all grey, and the T34 will have finished its all its paintwork and dull coated, ready for the weather and stage, and obviously the suspension, which I've got to sort out yet. I know what I'm going to do, so it's not a problem. It's just wondering how many wheels I'm going to do it to. Probably do it the one set on one side and just a couple on the other, because the suspension arms go in quite easily. So if I take the tab off them, they're just going to constantly be flapping about, so I'm going to have to tighten them up. I'm going to wrap some cotton or some fishing wire around the end of the part that goes into the hull, and make it a bit, so it doesn't move as much. Right, so I'm waffling again, so we'll just call this the end at the moment then. So we'll see you very, very soon. Greg signing off. See you later. Right, we're back. As you can see, I've jumped ahead a couple of stages. All I've done is I've primed it. I've given a base coat of grey, which is the MIG Surface Primer grey primer, which is MIG 2002. So that's just the base, and then I'm starting to use these now. I've just got this little set here from it's a Mr. Colour, and it's the modulation set for the Russian green version. There's 4 colours in there. We have, let's start from which way we're going to use them. Will be the last one I pick out. Which I've just used is the shadow green on there, which is this one. It's in the set. I don't know if you can quite read that. I can't read Chinese or Japanese, so I don't know if there's a number on there anywhere. CMC 13, I think that's where we are. Where's the light from? CMC 13. So that's what I've, got all the colours, the shadow bits on it there. And then we have, can never get them right all on the same thing, can we? Right. There are 3-4 colours in there. So now I'm going to give it a light spraying of CCM 10, which is the base colour. So that'll be the next thing. That's what I'm going to use next. And then we have, also as we're going on, we have highlight 1, which is CMC 11. That's highlight 1, if you can read that. And then we have CMC 12, which is highlight 2. So that's what's in the set. And I just thought I'd better, on the safe side, I bought some of the thinners as well, Mr. Colour thinners. So I'll be using that to thin the paint right down. And they say it's going to be quite a thin coat of paint I'm going to put on there, so we don't lose all the shadowing details. So what I'll do now is I'll just pause 2 seconds, and then I shall get my air gun set up, and we'll come back. Right, we're back again. I've mixed the paint. Basically it's 70% thinner to 30% paint. So let me just get that settled. So let me just start at the front. I just want a light coating, start building up as normal. You can see there's next to nothing going on, just gradually build it up. Let's get these awkward bits out the way, and then the recesses. As you can, as long as you keep your brush moving, you shouldn't have any problems. So as you can see, you can still see all the highlights on the front of that. So I'll carry on. Just move that out the way. I'll carry on at the sides. So if we can just gradually build it up. I can come round this way perhaps a little bit better. I'll just get underneath that. As you can see, it's just a light coat. We'll say we'll work from the top. Let me just see if I can. There, better. You can see better now. So I'll just do the same again. Obviously, I've got to get inside them little tubes. So we'll start off the back. I'll try not to go over the engine grills because I want to keep them dark. As you can see, you can still see plenty of the shadow coat coming through. We'll do the back, same. Let's go back a little bit there, down quite good under. You can see again there. That's quite nice. And then along here again. Going down there. And into there. So as you can see, that's turned out quite well. I shall just pop that going back in there a second, and I shall just remove that. So the bottom I'm going to do a darker green and then bridge it, do the opposite way around, so it's going to be the shadow and then a darker green straight onto it, but we'll do this first and then as we go along. So let me see if I can get something in there to not big enough. They're too big. The gun's in there, isn't it? So no, it's not going to work. So I'll have to hold it to the camera. So as you can see, it's got plenty of shadow coats on the turret from right there. So I'll do the top to start with. Do the same thing again. Gradual build up. So you can see it's still. Let me just bring the light back a little bit because you can't quite see that, can you? You can just see there's still modulation there. Nothing at the back of there, is there? Okay. And then on we'll do the sides the same. Slow, gradual build up. As you can see, right. Again, I'll do it from this side. It's alright. I think the compressor could be on the way out. Hopefully not. Can't afford a new one. Again, just gradual. no different from what anybody else would do, to be perfectly honest, so you know, it's just my interpretation of it, I suppose. And the way I've got a bit too high there so you can't see what you're doing. Let's hold the barrel. Let's hold the barrel. You see? And there again. Got that. Just go along the barrel. Under the barrel. I'm going to leave the, well, I suppose I better not. It's all the same colour in it. So, let's just pop that back on there. I'll just knock the compressor off for the moment so we can hear me talking. Whatever it's... Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so that is the, say using that. So I thinned that down really a lot. I'd say it's almost 70% thinners to 30% paint. So if I can just remove that out of the way and bring this back and just pop it on there. You can see the modulation still, you can see the colours coming through. Well, I've just a minute, Pat. You can see the colours coming through the back. That's my beloved. So I better obey. Yeah, so the colours have come through quite nicely. So I'll leave that to dry, and then I'll get back to you. We can do a few highlights and things like that. So far goes so good. So this is Greg signing off again until we get the first of the highlight coats on, and then we'll go from there. So we're back soon. Right, back again. As you can see, it's all dried. It's dried quite nice. I'm just going to slightly darken it. I just think it's a bit too lighter green for the base. I think I'm just going to highlight it slightly. I'm just going to sort of shade it a bit on bits and pieces, just to darken it down slightly. But I say it's a nice paint. It really does go down really nicely. But I'm going to darken it with is my old favourite, the Surface Primer Russian Green 74609 from Vallejo. So what I'll do is, all I'm going to do is basically, I've done it again. I've put like 70% thin to 30% paint. I better switch the compressor on with help. So as you can see, it's just a light. I say it's more obviously like dirty green water basically. So if I can do it from the side, I'll do the side. Just I don't know if you can pick it up or not with being the let's just get underneath there with the shadow. Okay, let's pop that back on there. And again. It's just a gradual that's it. The disadvantage is not putting the cup on, thinking you're not going to spill it. As you can see, it's coming on quite nicely actually. I'm quite pleased with this now. It's just needed that little bit of just get into the back there where it's slightly going to be darker anyhow. The sun's not really going to get to there. Again, I shall just pick it up and go underneath here for now. Darken that. Obviously, underneath there will be dark. And again, we shall just carry on what I've been doing. Remember, I'll just do the ends of the field drums. A bit more on there, look. It's almost reverse of putting highlights on. I'm doing it the other way around. Trust me to do this way around. But like I say, it's my own choice really. Right, let's just do this. Get it coming out. There we are. Let me just come around here. Excuse me, just 2 seconds. I'm making a video, Charlotte, please.
Okay, sorry.
My youngest. Day off work today. Sorry about that. As you can see, there's hardly anything going on there, but I'm getting a better colour. Well, I think it's a better colour, and it's slightly darker. I'm happy with that. Just a bit more on there. Right, so what I'll do now is I'll carry on with doing the, well, I'll show you actually if I can pick underneath, because I've got the underneath is dark green as it is. I'll just take this, I should be able to take it off because nothing's fastened down. And you can see maybe better with the modulation. Looks a bit better now, it looks more, obviously this has got, I'll just knock the compressor off otherwise it's going to annoy me. There we are, where's the switch? There we go. Yeah, so I think that's a better, slightly better colour now. And I got this. Yeah, I might just highlight it again. I'm not too sure yet. I'll let it dry and I'll decide. But I'm quite happy with that. Quite happy with that. And like I say, I've done the lower hull. I've darkened. Off camera, I did this. It's darker up into the recesses up there, as you can see from there, and I faded it down to the green. The bottom, and underneath again I've just been messing around with the paints, but it's come out alright. It's a dark green, so it looks quite nice. So I'm going to do the I'll do the turret and the wheels. There we go, it's quite nicely together. That's it. Yeah, so I'll do the wheels, which are here, they're all ready to be just given a little bit of a highlight coat again, or darker shadow coat I should say. Oh, they were quite nice. They're all rubber wheel version, this one, apart from the idler and the well, there isn't a sprocket, is there? It's the both idlers basically. Yeah, so I'll carry on with that, and once I've done that I'll get back to you. So we'll close off for this one and I'll be back very soon. Right, welcome back again ladies and gentlemen, it's Greg here again, and we'll carry on now with the bit of highlight work on the T34. As you can see, the primer coat and the work quite nicely. I went over with, you can say, with the Russian green just to darken it. I just thought it was a bit on the green side, if you know what I mean. So there was a few little highlights. I'm just going to add a few more, and all I'm going to use is from the same Mr. Colours. I'll just say I've just mixed me on, left it, you know, with the amount of thinners I've put in there. So I'm just going to use a bit of highlight 1, and I'm just going to go around some of the, you know, the engine hatches and things like that. Just for some of the race things, not a lot, because like I say, it's just to symbolise a bit of sunshine really, more than anything. I'll switch my compressor off, and as you can see again, it's very light. So well, I'll just start a little bit in the centre here, just subtle, like so. And then again around the, again, maybe just a couple of bits on top of the some of the storage boxes. Maybe a bit on the boom mantlet, the MG mantlet. Again, maybe just a little bit up there. Top of the just anywhere there's a little bit of direct sunlight gonna go. See some of the centerpieces. Just a little touch. As you can see, there's hardly anything coming out of the compressor. That's for the air gun. And again, maybe a little bit in the rear. See the quite come round here, perhaps a little bit better. You can probably see. Zoom in slightly. What do you think? Let's have a look. Will we zoom in? There we are. It's better. Just a little bit inside the. And maybe just a touch. All the way off. I think that could be about it, really. A little bit on top of those. As you can see, there's next to nothing coming out the air gun. It's all, I think, a touch more in there. Subtle bit on the top there. And I think that should be enough, I reckon. I don't think we should need any more on there. I'll say I'll carry on. I'll do the I'll be doing the wheels, and I shall do the turret as well. So as you can see, we've got the variations in the colours as well, which is quite nice. The colours, the green, the greens, and obviously the lower turret is a lot darker. The lower part of the hull is a lot darker. I'll just bring it in a bit. That's better. You can see now. If I was clever enough, I would have taken these apart and put a grill in there, but I'm not that clever yet. I might have a go at that next time. So I'll just put a dark wash into that. That'll soon darken down. Supply a wash every 5 or 6 minutes to get when it dries until I get the required colour. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Quite happy with that. So what I shall do next, it says I'll do the wheels on the turret, and then I'll let that dry. And I don't know why, I always put my decals on before I put it. I don't use gloss, I don't use anything. I put my decals straight onto the acrylics, and then I dual coat it. So that will be the next step. Is I shall let this dry, paint the turret, paint the wheels, apply the decals, and then the dual coat. And then I'll get back to you, and then that'll have to be left obviously for a good 12 hours before we can start anything else. But I'll have to start thinking about doing the tracks next, which are fairly straightforward. I've put them together as you've seen, and I'll be doing the similar sort of thing to what I normally do, using the spray them NATO black, and then adding the brown wash, and we shall go from there. So there we go. So I'm going to add a little hatch. I'm going to add a little hatch handle on top of there. It looks like I've seen a few kits with them on, so I'm going to add one to it. Yes, I'm quite pleased with that modulation. It's worked really well. Quite happy with that. Quite happy. Another string to my bow, as they say. So I'll do what I've said, and then I'll do the dual coat and the decals, and then I'll get back to you, and then we'll call that end of update 2. So I shan't be too long, hopefully. So this dry, and then we'll be back. Right, back again, chaps. As you can see, I've got the decals on, and I just used the usual suspects. I used the old Microsol. I've had this a couple of years, and you can see I've hardly used any really. There's a little bit in there. I remember knocking the bottle over slightly, so. But that's what I've used just for the decals. And also the not used to use, but I got it given, so I thought I'd try it. Put the micro set on the decals at the end, just to make them adhere quite good. But they seem to have gone down really nicely. I'll just pop that down 2 seconds. Yeah, which have gone on quite nicely. They're starting to, as you can see with the 34, they're starting to go in quite nicely with the texture of the turret. So that's the only 2 decals there is, and obviously on the other side as well. So I'm just letting them set up a little bit longer until I've had my tea in later on, and I'm going to give them a dual coat then. And what I use for a dual coat, let me just pop this out the way for a second, is I've used this quite a while. I get it off eBay, high coat, what were you on? Matte lacquer spray paint. It's reasonably cheap. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think I paid about £6 for 2 tins. So it was quite nice, and it lasts quite a long time. So that's it, that's what I use. Nothing else, none of the Tamiya stuff or testers or whatever else you want to call the stuff. I'll just use that. And I recommend using it. It dries matte. You know, a slight, like it says, a slight shine of it, very, very, very slight. But obviously when you've got your weather and your pigments and this, that and the other, it'll disappear. So I say things coming on nicely. I've got the turret hatches done as well, and the wheels, they're all ready as well to be dual coated. So that's what I'll be doing, say, shortly, once the decals are completely dried and the dull coat is will be then put on. So I think we'll call this end of update 2. Update 3 will start by doing the tracks. They're only the plastic tracks, but usually what I do with them is I spray them black and then the brown dipping wash, and then weather them from there. So there's nothing different from the Sherman to that one really, but so the tracks, only plastic tracks again, but they're okay. They're okay, there's nothing wrong with them really. Go together quite easily. Super glued these ones, so they'll be done, and then I'll go on to the diorama, which you see me put together earlier on. I was going to say I'll start on the diorama by just finishing the bits and pieces off on it and giving it a priming coat before we start anything else, and then we'll go back to the T34 with the weathering and things and figures that we're going to use. I would say the figure's going to be, you've seen the 2 figures that I'm going to use, which are, these were kindly sent from Joe's Model Kits. We shall be using that one. There we are. That one, and that one. Well, the driver, obviously, you've been able to see poking his little head out through the hatch. And I'm still undecided what to do. Do I do winter? I know it's wintry in Stalingrad, but I don't want to do a full-blown winter. Maybe sort of, I don't know. I'm going to have to think about it. I'm going to have to look at some pictures and decide actually what I'm going to do. Because I do have, there's 5 tank riders with this, and as I showed you there, I have the kit for the winter soldiers as well. So I'm going to have a look. I'm going to have a good look. I might watch Stalingrad again, the movie, and sort of get some inspiration, sort of how it felt, and then go to the documentary parts and have a look again on there. So that's enough of me rambling on. So we'll see you again with the beginning of update 3 with the tracks. So this is Greg signing off, and we'll catch you very, very shortly. And thank you to all my subscribers, new and all, for taking the time out to view this little build. It's much appreciated.